chair? You want to sit?
No, unless you want to.
I'm good either way.
Okay.
Man, I'm not sure the last time I actually sang with real live Christians.
No me recuerdo desde cuándo
In
cuánto
person.
es que no he cantado con cristianos vivos en persona.
At least a year, and
Por lo menos un año.
it was awful. Jen and I tried, but
Jenny y yo tratamos solos,
Yeah.
pero no.
We were awful?
I was awful. She sings great. Yeah, she sings great. I don't think Mo's gonna last too much.
We're
Or I think Mo's mother's gonna last too much longer. So just real quick here before I start, just a little bit about
Antesito de comenzar,
Mo's situation.
la situación de Mo.
So with COVID, everything shut, all the legal stuff shut down.
Claro, con
There was
el
no-
COVID
any of
todos
that,
los
so-
asuntos legales de él se acabaron.
Yeah, some of that delay was due to COVID. and shutting
Mucha de
down.
la demora de poder adoptarle era debido al COVID.
Yeah, the dad has actually been pretty resistant for a while.
El papá de él nos ha puesto mucho en contra por bastante tiempo ya.
Yeah, and part of the reason was he was, seeing these pictures on Facebook, and Mo looked great, and he's like, why isn't he back here?
Y él, parte era, él vio los fotos de Mo en el Facebook y lo vio muy bien y él pensaba, ¿por qué no está aquí entonces?
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around the fact that is doing great, but he's maintenanced here.
Es difícil para él entender que sí, él va bien, pero el mantenimiento está aquí.
And if any of that maintenance stops, then
Y si
he'll-
fuera
he'll
parar
go
este
very
mantenimiento-
rapidly. So that's where things started to get tricky. Was we began to realize that.
Looks normal to me.
You guys are getting
Yeah, it's all normal.
You guys are getting a total snapshot of what happens in our house now. So.
Ese es un cuadro de lo que pasa en
Two
nuestra casa.
tired human beings going to bed at night.
Dos seres humanos cansadísimos cada noche acostándonos.
We're like, all right, we're adopting Mo. Who's adopting us?
Nosotros vamos a adoptar a Mo, pero ¿quién va a adoptar a nosotros?
Anyway, so, it is very hard to explain to Mo's mom seemed to have grasped things very quickly. Mo's dad was
La
a
mamá
lot
de Mo
reluctant.
parecía que se entendió la situación, pero el papá no.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, I did a video chat with Mo's
Entonces,
dad.
hace 15 días hice un chat de video con el papá de Mo.
Yeah, which technically is not even legal.
Y técnicamente ese no era legal.
When you're doing international adoption, you're not really supposed to have any contact.
Cuando uno está haciendo una adopción
Of course, we already have the
internacional, no
kids,
debes
so
tener
everything's already
contacto
backwards
con
anyway,
las personas.
And it was just a real heart-to-heart conversation.
Y tuvimos una conversa muy corazón a corazón.
So he had already gotten visits from social workers and doctors and things like that, trying to explain.
Y los
medical
obreros
side of all
sociales y médicos habían tratado de explicarlo a él lo que estaba pasando.
So, and none of that had really done any good. In fact, he had kind of dug his heels in even further.
Pero parecía solo producir más resistencia.
So, Jen and I just decided, let's just go for it. Let's try to do a heart-to-heart
Entonces
call.
nosotros decidimos, vamos a tratar de hacer una llamada donde podemos hablar cara a cara con él.
Yeah, so that's what happened, and I did my best to explain to him kind of the big three obstacles that we were facing right now in maintaining Mo's medical care.
Entonces yo traté de explicar a él los obstáculos que estamos enfrentando en el cuidado de situación médicamente con Mo.
So one was his passport is going to expire
Y
early
el
next
primero
year.
era que su pasaporte se va a vencer
Yeah.
muy
And
temprano
his
en el año
visa,
que entra.
and it's not a renewable visa, so we can't renew his visa.
Y no podemos renovar su visa.
And then, his health care is kind of connected to him being here legally.
Y claro, su bienestar de salud tiene que ver con él estar aquí legalmente.
And we weren't 100% certain whether, we don't know how closely they follow that stuff, so we weren't sure. We couldn't call them and put them on the radar.
Ni tenemos idea cómo están velando sobre este asunto en el gobierno y nos daba miedo de llamar porque ahí se atrae atención.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just started to become clear that the adoption was really the cleanest, most permanent way to ensure.
Entonces llegó a ser muy claro que la adopción era la manera más claro para seguir.
Because the doctors are convinced, as well as he's doing, I mean, he's going to need, he's going in next month for he's going to need procedures.
Y porque él todavía va a necesitar tratamientos especiales.
So, anyway, so that's where we're at, and
De manera que ahí estamos en la
yeah, so
situación.
we've got the ball rolling. It's going to be very slow going over there for a while. We have to adopt them in Burkina Faso first, and then we kind of do the same thing here after.
Entonces, la cosa está en moción, pero va a estar despacio porque lo tenemos que adoptar en Burkina Faso primero y luego aquí.
So that's the story. The ball's moving again, which is wonderful, and Dad has signed off, which is really, truly a miracle, because I honestly was starting to doubt whether, just begging the Lord. I said, Lord, you don't even have to change his heart, just change his mind. We don't have to go
Tienes
all
que
the way
cambiar el
here.
corazón de esto, solo cambia su mente.
And so at least that got done. I'm not sure whether his heart changed on it. It's
Entonces
so
no
difficult.
sé
I can't
de
even imagine being in
el
his
corazón
position.
del papá cómo está, pero por lo menos él se ha concedido de fluir en esa situación.
But, our plan is when Mo's stable enough and has U.S. citizenship and all that.
Pero nuestro plan es cuando
These two people are with me,
ese dos son conmigo, están conmigo.
so let me do a quick introduction. So this is my oldest son, Luke,
Este es Lucas, mi hijo mayor.
and this is my youngest daughter, my third out of 5 now.
Y esa es mi hija menor.
That's Gabby.
Gabriela.
Yeah. And close to Gabby in the next row, I didn't introduce my mother-in-law. That's Jen's mom, Thelma.
Esa es mi suegra, Alma.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Welcome, all three. Now remember though, you're in church.
Find out soon, that's not a problem.
Hi, guys. So anyway, so that's what's going on with Mo, and of course, we're just thankful and excited and nervous and terrified.
De modo que eso es lo que está siguiendo con Mo y estamos un poco nerviosos, pero emocionados a la vez.
Yeah. So we trust the Lord knows what He's doing.
Confiamos que Dios sabe lo que Él está haciendo.
Anyway. All right, so, you guys, sharing with you guys is a conundrum because
De compartir con ustedes es me da un complejo un poquito.
when I look around the room,
Porque cuando
first of all,
miro aquí,
you're the easiest people to talk to.
primero que todo son lo más fácil que
So
conozco para
receptive. I
hablarles.
feel like I could read the back of a toothpaste label and you'd all
Creo que
go,
puedo leer.
make me feel like I just did
Leer
something
cualquier
important.
cosa y me va a hacer sentir que he hecho algo importante.
But then, when I look around the room, and I know some of you better than others, but
Pero al mirarles y conociendo
Yeah.
algunos mejores que otros,
the collective spiritual experience in this room is a little bit intimidating for whoever
la
has to share.
experiencia colectiva de ahí en el espíritu se intimida un poquito una persona porque es mucha experiencia junto.
Yeah, so basically, I just get to this point where there's absolutely nothing new that I can share with these guys.
Me hace llegar al punto donde digo a mí mismo, no hay nada nuevo para compartir con esta gente.
So so I always come back to this old C.S. Lewis quote. where he
Entonces
said,
siempre vuelvo a una
most
dicho de
people
C.S.
do
Lewis.
not require instruction, they just require reminding.
La mayoría de la gente no necesita instrucciones, se necesita
So
ser
that's
recordados.
my role here with you guys, is I just
Entonces
feel
mi
like
rol
there's
con
nothing
ustedes,
new coming, there's
no
just
va a
going
haber
to be
nada
maybe a
nuevo.
new way of saying the same
Quizás
stuff,
una manera nueva de decir la misma cosa.
but mostly just trying to stir up maybe some things that have kind of settled down to the
Pero
bottom of the...
Quizás
The tank
tratando
again.
remover algunas cosas que han sentado en el fondo.
So this morning I'm just going to share just a little bit on 7 things I wish someone had told me when I became a Christian.
Entonces, esta mañana voy a compartir 7 cosas que ojalá me hubiesen dicho antes de ser un cristiano.
And some of these are very current in my life, others not so much.
Algunos son muy corrientes y significado en mi vida ahora, otros no tanto.
And so I came up with 7. I hate when preachers come up with numbered things.
No
And
me
here I-
gusta
here I am
cuando los
doing it. I'm not sure I've
predicadores
ever
tienen
even done
sus
this
listas
before.
numerados, pero
But if you like lists, then you'll be happy today.
si le gusta,
So,
si eres persona que le gustan las listas, va a estar contento hoy.
I mean, this list could have easily been 20 items.
Yo creo podía ser 20,
I did 7 because
pero hice 7.
Christians are allergic to the number 6.
Porque los cristianos tienen alergia al número 6.
5 seemed too short.
5 era muy
8 seemed
corto,
too
breve.
long, and so I defaulted to 7. So that's where I got 7 from.
Entonces, por eso saqué 7.
But I do want to challenge you to maybe make your own. Your list is going to be different than mine.
Y seguro su lista va a estar diferente que lo
But
mío.
somebody in your life needs to hear your list.
Pero alguno en su vida
Not just
necesita
a brand new
oír
Christian.
su lista.
These lists are typically, I've probably done lists with people like this just in casual conversation.
Quizás he
And it's fascinating to get their
hablado
list.
estas cosas en conversas casuales.
Yeah. All right, so let me just go ahead and jump in here, and then
Okay.
I've got a few things that maybe that I've just jotted down that I wanted to share, and I just jotted them down in case I can't remember them. But
Tengo algunos anotados aquí, acaso que no recuerdo.
so the first one is this, and I'm picturing myself talking to really young, new believers.
Y estoy haciendo cuadro que estoy hablando con creyentes nuevos, ¿ok?
Following Jesus Christ is dangerous.
Al seguir a Jesucristo es peligroso.
The only thing more dangerous
La única cosa más peligrosa
is not following.
es no seguirle.
Okay. And I'm thinking of Lucy and the Beaver in Narnia, where
Estoy pensando en Narnia, de Lucy ¿cómo se llama este animal? El animal que come árboles y hace represos. Castores, gracias.
were you having trouble with Beaver?
Beaver, yeah.
I thought that might get you. I wish I'd have known you were doing this. I would have made it a little more difficult. He's describing Aslan to her.
Porque el castor está explicando cómo es Aslan a ella.
And so she gets really nervous and she says he sounds dangerous.
Y ella se pone nerviosa y dice, él se suena como peligroso este Aslan.
And his response is, he is, but he's the king. He's good.
Y el castor dice,
And,
sí, él es, pero es el rey, él es bueno.
I think it's just really easy to get caught up in this notion that once you've come to the Lord,
Creo que es fácil
it's
ser
going to be
agarrado por
smooth
esta
sailing.
idea que al conocer al Señor todo va a estar suave.
And if your experience was at all like mine, I came to the Lord when I was 17. I was in college.
Mi experiencia de conocí al Señor cuando tuve
And,
17 años en la universidad.
Yeah, and it was. There was about a 18-month honeymoon period where it was.
Y había
smooth
como una
sailing.
luna de miel de 18 meses.
Yeah, the Lord went out of His way to make it smooth sailing.
El Señor hizo un esfuerzo para que todo mi camino sea flores.
The miracles were present in abundance. and,
Milagros presentes en
I got all the
abundancia.
best parking spots.
Encontré todos los lugares mejores para
I think I was
estacionar el auto.
Sick, of course I was 17, so I didn't get sick very often, but everything was very smooth.
Todo era muy suave.
And the first couple of significant bumps that hit,
Los primeros 2 golpes que me
my
llegó,
faith collapsed.
colapsaba
told
mi
me.
fe.
Nobody told me.
Nadie me había dicho.
So it's not smooth sailing, and it can get, as you guys well know, it can get downright harrowing.
Entonces todo el camino
sometimes.
no es flores y a veces se puede ser un poco
I
fuerte.
mean, what Helen just shared
Lo que
is
Helen estaba
can
diciendo,
only be classified as, harrowing. It's
lo que compartió son situaciones fuertes.
And if it's your, it's bad enough when it's you. If it's your kids, it's even worse.
Y es suficiente malo
Or
cuando
your
es uno
spouse.
mismo, pero si son los hijos o su esposo, hasta peor.
So it is. It's dangerous to follow Jesus Christ. And in
Entonces,
case you
es
guys have
peligroso
forgotten that,
Seguir a
here to
Jesucristo.
remind you this
¿Acaso se
morning.
han olvidado? Estoy aquí para acordarles.
and as dangerous as it is
Y tan peligroso que es.
simultaneously
A la vez,
the absolute safest, bestest place.
a la
that
vez
you can be.
es el lugar más seguro donde uno puede estar.
And I could labor on about this point, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Ustedes entienden esto.
When you follow a Lord who is as free and untamed as Jesus Christ is,
Cuando tú sigas al Señor Jesús que está totalmente libre sin restringimientos,
you just don't know what He's going to do next.
nunca se sabe lo que
You
Él va a
don't know
hacer.
what He's going to permit next.
No sabe lo que Él va a
You
permitir.
don't know where He's going to take you
No
next.
sabes dónde le va a guiar próximo.
And it's something that for those of us who are control freaks,
Y para nosotros que somos adictos al control,
yeah, we have to, something has to die.
algo tiene que morir.
Yeah. And, I've been following the Lord 35 years, and that thing's still not fully dead yet.
Llevo 35 años siguiendo al Señor y esta cosa todavía no está totalmente muerto.
But He's so patient.
Pero Él
So
tiene
patient.
tanto paciencia.
There are things that I'm struggling with at 55 on this issue that, quite frankly, I'm embarrassed about.
Hay cosas que me da lucha a la edad de 55 años, todavía me da pena.
And He's patiently dealing with me.
Pero Él está con mucha
Patiently,
paciencia
slowly
tratándome
taking me through
despacio,
things.
despaciamente llevándome por medio de las cosas.
And I remember not all that long ago, I said to the Lord, why don't you just get this and yank it out once and
Me
for
recuerdo
all?
no hace mucho que dije al Señor, Señor, por favor, agarre esta cosa en mi vida y sacarla,
Yeah.
por fin.
And the Panera guys have had to sit through this little
Y
illustration.
Mis
once.
hermanos de martes por la mañana han tenido que sentar por medio de esta explicación.
In one of my darker seasons with this issue, I was just kind of crying out to the Lord, and why does it have to be so hard? All that stuff that we do.
En un tiempo muy oscuro en este
And-
asunto yo estaba clamando a Dios, ¿por qué? ¿Por qué? Llorándome.
Just wave the wand and fix me.
Yo dije, mueve tu batón
Why
para
aren't you doing that?
sanarme y
I know you can do it.
arreglarme.
I've seen you do it.
Yeah.
Tú puedes hacerlo porque he visto que lo
And,
hace con otros.
The Lord brought into my purview on the computer an image that was so arresting.
Pero el Señor me hizo ver algo por medio del computador, una imagen
And
que
I don't
me...
even know where I found this, but it was on the computer. So it was a picture
Era un cuadro
of a gigantic old tree.
de un árbol grandísimo de
And
muchos años.
In the middle of this tree
Y en el centro de este árbol
was this rusty, red,
había un
old Schwinn
antiguo
bicycle.
bicicleta
Have any of you seen this
oxidado
picture?
y
Have you seen
rojo
that
I've seen
picture?
it, yeah.
And I
en
saw,
medio del árbol.
as soon as I saw this picture, the Lord said, "You're the tree."
Y tan pronto que vi este cuadro, el Señor dijo, tú eres el árbol.
And somewhere back in your youth,
Y en algún parte en su historia de juventud,
right, a foreign object got embedded into your
un
soul.
objeto extraño fue sentado en tu alma.
And it's
Sembrado.
really irrelevant whether you did something
Y no importa
or
si
someone else did
usted
something,
hizo algo, si
or
otra persona
circumstances
hizo,
just
o las
happened.
circunstancias produjo algo.
but the rusty bicycle is there.
Pero el bicicleta oxidado está.
And the tree just starts growing around it.
Y el árbol comienza a
It grows
crecer
and grows and grows
alrededor,
and grows.
tragándolo.
And if you're far away from that tree and you can't see that low, it looks like a nice healthy tree from a distance.
Y si tú eres lejos del árbol y lo miras y no se ve tan bajo donde está la bicicleta y se parece un árbol saludable.
But it's not. There's this rusty foreign object
Pero
that
no
has
es.
caused
Hay
it to grow in strange
Algo
ways.
extraño sembrado adentro, causando un crecimiento diferente.
Yeah. And quite honestly, that's all of us.
Y para ser honesto, todos tenemos algo así.
Yours may not be a red rusty Schwinn like mine is, it might be
Quizás
something else,
lo
but
tuyo no es rojo y oxidado, pero hay otra
it's
cosa.
something that's not supposed to be there.
Algo que no debe de estar ahí.
Certainly something the Lord didn't put there.
Algo que el Señor no puso ahí.
And I'm looking at this image, and the Lord is saying to me, if I did what you're asking me to do, which was poof,
Estoy mirando esta imagen, el Señor dijo, si yo fuera a hacer lo que me está pidiendo y sacarlo de una vez,
that tree would not survive.
este árbol no
That action.
podría sobrevivir
You
esta
know.
acción.
And so instead, this master carpenter that we belong to had spent 35 years of so gently and periodically, seasonally, chipping away at
Pero
this so as
ese
not to kill
gran
the tree.
carpintero al cual obedecemos, él ha pasado 35 años de poco a poco quitando madera con mucha ternura.
To give enough room for the tree's survival, but also for the eventual removal.
Para que el árbol
of that
podía
thing that shouldn't be
seguir
there.
viviendo, pero también permitir que poco a poco esta bicicleta sea sacada.
And that's your Lord.
Y ese es tu Señor.
That is sometimes how He also works.
Él mueve así.
I know we all love the Jesus that does everything in 2 seconds and the
Yo sé que
miraculous
todos
and all
estamos
that.
enamorados con el Jesús
I
que
do
hace
too.
algo en 2 segundos.
And I prefer that
Y
Jesus.
eso prefiero este Jesús.
But it's not reality to say that that's the only
Pero
way that
no
He
es
is.
la realidad de decir que esa es la única manera que Él
That
funciona.
first couple of years of my walk in Him,
Los primeros 2 años de mi caminar con
He
Él,
did all those things to build my faith and my confidence in Him.
Él hizo todas esas cosas para edificar mi fe en Él.
But while He was doing those things,
Pero mientras que hacía esas
He
grandes cosas,
had one eye on a 55-year-old version of me.
Él tuvo otro ojo mirando una versión de 55 años de mí.
That was going to need a lot more than some really nice, cool, outward obvious miracles, but was going to need an inward
Un tipo que
transformation.
iba a hacer mucho más de algunos milagros externos, que iba a necesitar una obra profunda adentro.
And that's why I say it's the most dangerous and the most
Por,
safest
por
place
eso digo,
to
es
be is to follow this
el
man.
lugar más peligroso y a la vez el lugar más seguro para estar con Él, seguirle a Él.
Okay. 2,
2,
people,
la gente,
including Christians,
incluyendo a
and
cristianos,
maybe especially
y
Christians,
quizás especialmente cristianos,
are profoundly damaged people.
son gente profundamente dañados.
Now, in reality, I don't think there's different degrees between believer and unbeliever. It's just that ours is sometimes a little easier to see.
En realidad no creo que hay mucha diferencia entre los incrédulos y los creyentes, pero lo nuestro es un poco más fácil para observarlo.
This can come as a shock also, because I think sometimes we imagine, again, because we've become Christians, that we're going to get fixed if we're even broken, and if we need fixing, it's going to happen pretty quickly.
Yo creo que este también es la idea que pensamos si necesito ser arreglado, este se va a suceder básicamente rápido,
And especially
especialmente
if you have ever lived a kind of Christian existence where you did more than attend church once or twice a week.
Especialmente si has vivido un clase de existencia cristiana donde se había hecho más de solo asistir a un culto de vez en cuando.
If you've ever been in any kind of Christian community,
En cualquier forma de comunidad
you
cristiana,
will have been given an absolute front row seat to human brokenness.
tú vas a tener un asiento de la primera hilera para ser testigo al daño que está presente en el ser humano.
Just like family life,
Porque igual como la vida
living your
familiar,
life out with another group of Christians, and I don't care whether that's 4 other Christians or 40 other Christians or 400
viviendo
other
con
Christians,
otros cristianos, sea 4, 40 o 400,
you're going to see the
vas a
brokenness
ser
of humanity
testigo
on full
a
display.
la corrupción y daño de la humanidad.
And usually the way this goes is you're going to see everybody else's brokenness first.
Y naturalmente se sigue así. Tú ves todo lo dañado de
You're going to be
nosotros.
the only normal one.
Y tú eres el único normal en todo el grupo.
And then one fine day,
Y luego un día,
the real deep work of the Holy Spirit's
la
going to
obra
begin.
profunda del Espíritu Santo puede penetrar.
And you are going to lo and behold and discover
Tú vas a descubrir
that all this brokenness that you're identifying out
que todo
there,
este daño que tú puedes identificar allá afuera,
it's that and more is in you as well.
hay hasta más
Yeah.
aquí
It
adentro.
was a very difficult day for me when that happened.
Era un día muy difícil para mí cuando
And
descubrí esto.
N.T. Wright says this:
N.T. Wright dice,
Christians are the very worst people in the history of the world.
cristianos son la gente más peor en toda la historia
Except-
del mundo,
Except
afuera de
for all others,
todo lo demás.
right? And that's true too.
Y eso es verdad.
My brothers and sisters, I've lived in 2 different Christian communities.
He vivido en
and
dos comunidades
those dear
cristianas.
people drove me stark raving mad.
Y esta gente me mandó loco.
But I love those people.
Pero a la vez amo,
And
amo
The
esta
greater
gente.
miracle is those people love
Y
me.
el milagro más grande es que esta gente me ama.
And we're still, to this very hour,
Y hasta hoy en día,
we haven't been together in several decades now.
ya hace unas décadas que no
But
hemos estado
We
juntos.
call each other, we check on
Pero
each other,
llamamos,
we
averiguamos
visit
uno
each
al otro,
other,
visitamos
all
uno
that
al otro,
stuff. I
todo
mean,
eso.
there's an unbreakable bond that got formed after we all realized that hideous stuff
Había
about
un
one another.
vínculo fuerte que se formó aún después de darnos cuenta de todas las faltas.
And this is how the Lord also gets His work done in us.
Y esa es la manera que el Señor hace su obra dentro.
Brings and knits together
Él trae
broken people
y hace una tejida de gente quebrantados.
because part of your deliverance from your brokenness
Porque parte de su liberación,
is
de
wrapped
su,
up in those other broken
su
people.
estado de no funcionar, se encuentra, parte de solución se encuentra en las otras personas.
Did you hear that?
¿Oyeron?
You don't get to just go off with you and the Lord
No es permitido que usted y el Señor salgan
and go
juntos
get fixed in private.
y se va a arreglarse en
That
privado.
doesn't happen.
Eso no sucede.
I wish it did.
Ojalá que fuese así, pero yo he tratado, pero
It doesn't happen.
no sucede.
Your exposure,
Tú, go ahead.
and I'm not talking, don't misunderstand me here. The Lord is not out to humiliate us,
No me malentiende, el Señor no tiene el deseo de humillarnos,
but you won't permit the exposure that's required for your salvation and your deliverance.
pero al solo tú no vas a permitir este clase de luz que es necesario
Yeah.
alumbrar en su
You
vida.
won't permit that on your own. You
No
can't
lo
even
va a
see
permitir,
it on your own.
porque ni lo puedes ver,
It really does require
se requiere
the relationships of other brothers and
relaciones
sisters in
de
your
otros
life
hermanos y hermanas en tu
to
vida.
get a little bit of a reflective mirror.
Aún para recibir
For
unos
yourself.
vislumbres para sí mismos.
So without your brothers and
Entonces,
sisters,
sin sus hermanos,
you don't even know what to call out to the Lord for, what
ni
to
sabes
fix.
qué a pedir de Dios.
I mean, you know a couple of things. We all know a couple
Bueno,
of things.
algunas cosas sí conocemos,
But the fullness of Christ that He's trying to form in
pero
you
la plenitud de Cristo que Él está tratando de
Does
formar
not
dentro de
happen
ti no
apart
sucede aparte
from that which the rest of the body.
de lo que el resto
Can
del
help bring you
cuerpo
into.
puede suplir.
And the other thing that you need from your brothers and sisters,
Y
let me
lo
put a
demás.
little positive spin on this,
Y lo demás que necesitas de tus hermanos,
is, Jesus Christ is actually dwelling inside of each one of them.
sabe que Jesucristo actualmente está morando dentro de cada uno de ellos.
Even maybe richly and fully.
Y quizás en una manera rica y
And
de
so-
plenitud.
The Christ, we all have the same Christ living in us,
Todos tenemos
obviously.
el mismo Cristo viviendo adentro, obviamente.
But the expression
Pero la manera que se
of
expresa
the one and only Christ that's living in
del
us,
único Cristo que vive en
varies
nosotros,
from
la
person
expresión
to person.
puede variar de
you
persona en
guys know
persona.
this. You know
Ustedes lo
that.
saben.
I know that.
Yo lo sé.
There's different giftings.
Hay
There's
diferentes
different
dones.
wiring. There's
Hay diferentes porciones y entendimientos.
different personality types.
Hay diferentes personalidades.
And all of these have been masterfully designed by our Lord
Y
so
todos
that
han sido diseñados
He-
por nuestro Señor en una manera
He can be
espectacular
fully expressed.
para que Él pueda expresar su imagen.
It's not just some kind of trite phrase where I say, well, I need you, I need you, I need you.
No
I
es una
really
cosa-
do.
No es una frase vacío donde yo dice, te necesito y yo también te necesito. No, yo los necesito.
What saves me, what delivers me, is my catching a glimpse
Lo que me libra es cuando puedo coger un
of Jesus
vislumbre
Christ.
de Jesucristo.
But where is He?
Pero ¿dónde es?
Where is He?
¿Dónde está Cristo?
Well, we all know He's somehow up there, but He's
Pues,
also distributed
Todos
Himself
sabemos
into
que
His body.
Él está ahí arriba, pero también entendemos que Él está distribuido entre
And I
tu cuerpo.
can't go directly to Him for some things.
Y yo puedo ir directamente a Él por
But
algunas
for other
cosas.
things, He resists me
Pero por
in,
otras cosas
in that
me
direct approach.
resiste en un acercamiento directo.
And He says, I have scattered myself into my saints.
Y Él dice,
and
he
your
sembrado a mí mismo
deliverance
en
and
mis santos
your,
y su liberación.
what you need
Lo que tú necesitas
is there.
está dentro de ellos.
Go and find it.
Vaya, búsquenlo.
And sometimes we have to do that.
Y a veces lo tiene que
And
hacer.
that's hard if all you can see is the brokenness of other people.
Y es difícil si solo lo que puede ver es la disfunción de todos.
But just remember, in the midst of that dysfunction,
Pero recuerdas, en medio de esta disfunción,
that brokenness that we see in another human being,
este daño que está en los
the
otros,
resurrected Lord is hidden in there somewhere.
el Señor
And
resucitado
the
está
resurrected
escondido
Lord
ahí.
that you need is hidden
Y
in there
el Señor
somewhere.
resucitado que tú necesitas está escondido ahí.
That's how one we are. That's not just a nice warm metaphor.
Esa es la manera, de esta manera somos unos. Ese no es un metáforo hermoso.
Right? There are days when my spiritual sustenance and my spiritual health
Hay días cuando mi sustancia, mi salud espiritual
is dependent
depende
on what comes out of that brother's mouth,
de lo que sale de la boca de este
what
hermano.
comes out of this sister's
Lo que
mouth.
sale de la boca de este
Or
hermano.
maybe she types something to me on
O quizás
Facebook,
ella
or
me
she
manda algo
picks
en
up the phone
Facebook,
and calls
o me
me.
llama.
Everything is tied up together.
Todo
So
está tejido juntos.
people are broken.
La gente están dañados,
Love them anyway.
pero ámelos en
And
todo caso.
look for the resurrected Christ.
Y busque el
in them.
Cristo resucitado dentro de ellos.
We all get annoyed with one another.
Todos podemos ser
By
turbados.
the way, this is all
uno
good
por
marriage
el otro.
advice too, in case you missed that.
¿Acaso esos son los buenos consejos para matrimonios también?
And I guess I just want to say this too. So, like many of you, I have a lot of interaction with a lot of different stripes and flavors of Christians, and you know that
Con mucho de,
There are a lot of different
igual con
stripes
muchos
and
de
flavors of
ustedes, yo
Christians
tengo
out
muchas
there.
interacciones con otras clases de cristianos y que hay.
And a lot of times, just in chatting with them, I find that, sometimes they feel like they're wrestling with sin. And then you talk to them further and you really find out what they're actually wrestling with is not sin so much, but their own humanity.
Muchas veces conversando con ellos, se parece que están luchando ellos con su pecado y así, pero después de conversarlo se da cuenta que realmente están luchando con su propia humanidad, no es tanto el pecado.
And it's really rare to find, even among believers, people who are comfortable in their own humanity.
Es muy raro encontrar una persona, aún entre los creyentes, encontrar una persona que se siente muy cómodo en su propia humanidad.
So I feel like the vast majority of the Christian faith is made up of people who are trying to escape their humanity, overcome their humanity.
Yo siento que la mayoría de los de la fe
Get rid of
cristiana
their humanity
están
and
involucrados
become
en
spiritual.
tratando echarse su humanidad, escapar su humanidad para poder ser espiritual.
And that leads to a life of frustration.
Y solo les lleva una
Because
vida de frustración,
You are human.
porque eres humano.
You are going to be human forever and ever.
Va a ser
and ever
humano
and ever
para la
and
eternidad.
ever.
Thank you so much.
And Jesus is just totally fine with that.
Y Jesús está muy bien con esta
So
idea.
fine with it,
Tan
that
bueno, tan de acuerdo.
he decided to become a human
Que él
also.
decidió llegar a ser un humano también.
And he's still a human
Y él
right
todavía es
now.
un
I
ser
think sometimes
humano
we get this
ahora
idea
mismo. Y a veces
that
tenemos la idea
Jesus became a human for 33
que
years,
Jesús llegó a ser un
and then
ser
he
humano
stopped
33 años y dejó de
being human.
ser humano.
and now he's a spirit
Y
again,
ahora él es
and now he's
espíritu
God
otra vez.
again.
Y
No,
él
he
es
never
Dios
stopped
otra
being
vez.
God. Right? He's human, and
Él es ser
when the
humano.
Godhead made the decision
Cuando Dios hizo la
to
decisión
incarnate,
para encarnarse,
it was a permanent
era una
decision.
decisión permanente.
There was now going to be a member of the Godhead
Ya iba a
who
ser
was
un
going to
miembro
be
de la divinidad
eternally
que iba a ser eternamente
human.
ser humano,
forever and ever and ever.
para siempre.
And you know what they in their little council
Y
in
en
the
su
pre-eternals,
consejo en la
that
eternidad,
idea came up,
esta idea se levantó
and they said yes.
y dijeron que
That
sí.
is a great idea.
Y en la divinidad dijeron, esa es
We'll
una gran
become
idea
permanently human.
para uno de
Just
nosotros ser
like
humano
them.
permanente, igual como ellos.
And so he came and he redeemed humanity and he restored the dignity of what it
Entonces
means to be
vino,
a human being.
redimió la humanidad y restauró la dignidad de lo que era ser humano.
And he says in Hebrews, I'm not ashamed to call them
Y dice en
my
Hebreos,
brethren.
No siento vergüenza
my
llamarles
sisterin.
mis hermanos y mis
Why
hermanas.
does he make a statement like that?
¿Por qué haría una declaración así en Hebreos?
Because he's human.
Porque
Now,
él
also,
es ser humano
He's now
también.
human too.
Él tiene humanidad
Permanently.
también.
Being a human in light of the coming of Jesus Christ
Siendo humano en luz de la venida de Cristo
and the cross of Jesus
y la cruz
Christ
de Jesucristo
and the resurrection of
y la
Jesus Christ
resurrección de
and the
Jesucristo
enthronement of Jesus
y el
Christ
entronado, ser entronado por
now
Jesús.
makes being human really cool.
Ahora ser humano es muy
It
cool.
wasn't cool for a long time.
Por mucho
It was-
tiempo no
it
era
was
algo
kind of
cool.
like being second rate, second
Era como
class,
segundo
maybe
clase,
third class.
inferior.
But with the coming of the Son of Man,
La venida del Hijo de
and
Hombre.
you know, he always identified himself that
Y él
way.
siempre se
He
identificó
always
a
wanted
sí
to call him
mismo.
the Son
sí.
of God, the Son of God, the
Ellos
Son of God.
siempre dicen Hijo de
And he
Dios,
always
Hijo de
kind of
Dios.
put the
Y él
brakes on
siempre
that.
dice, puso los frenos
Right?
y dijo,
He was the Son of God and is the
Hijo de
Son of
Hombre.
God.
Él es el Hijo
But
de
he
Dios.
always,
Pero siempre-
always went out of his
siempre
way to identify himself
Se
as the Son
identificó
of Man.
como el Hijo
Why?
de Hombre.
Why?
¿Por qué?
Why?
¿Por qué?
Because he's restoring the dignity
Porque él está
and
restaurando la
the original
dignidad
purpose,
y el propósito original,
the glory,
la gloria,
the high calling
el llamado alto
of what it means to be a human
de lo
being.
que quiere decir ser un ser
And he
humano.
succeeded in it.
Y él fue exitoso.
So, brothers and sisters, start getting comfortable
De modo que
in your skin.
comiencen de ser cómodos dentro de su piel.
Remember, I'm talking to young Christians here.
Recuerda que
There
estoy
you guys
hablando
are already
con
comfortable.
cristianos jóvenes.
And by the way, time is one thing that helps with this.
Yes.
El tiempo, la pasada del tiempo nos ayuda con ese
I am a
concepto.
lot more accepting of myself at 55 than I
A la
was
edad
at
de
35.
55 acepto a mí
Infinitely
mismo
so.
mucho más ahora de lo que en antes.
And comfortable with
Y
myself.
estoy cómodo con mi
But there's
mismo.
only one reason why.
Pero por una sola razón.
Because I have discovered
Porque he
by
descubierto
experience
por experiencia
that he's comfortable with me.
que él es
That
cómodo
he's receiving
conmigo.
me. That he's
Él me
not,
acepta.
he is fixing me.
Él me está arreglando.
But he's comfortable with me
Pero
even apart from the
él,
repair work.
él está cómodo conmigo aún ni hablar de las reparaciones que está
And
haciendo.
you can never truly get repaired
Y nunca puede ser reparado totalmente
until you see
hasta que ves
first
primero
that he's comfortable with you all broken.
que él
and
está
messed up.
cómodo contigo en el estado
That
donde es.
must happen first.
Este lo tiene que entender primero.
And for people like me, and I'm guessing there's one or two of you that are like
Y
this,
para personas tal como yo, y adivino algunos 2 o 3 de
I
ustedes,
want to get fixed first.
yo quiero ser
So
arreglado primero,
whatever my definition of getting
lo que
fixed
sea
is,
mi
which is
definición de
way
ser
short of what
arreglado.
his definition is
Yo sé que es
anyway.
muy bajo
But I wanna get
en comparación
fixed
al
first.
suyo, pero yo quiero ser arreglado primero,
And then
y luego
I'll feel worthy to present
Luego
myself.
sentiría
into his company.
digno de presentarme en
That
su presencia.
is a bold-faced lie.
Esa es una mentira
And if you
fuerte.
even secretly live that way,
Y aun si vives en una
Because
manera
look,
secreto así,
all evangelical believers are smart enough to never admit to that in words.
todos los creyentes están
Right, we
suficientemente
all
inteligentes y
claim-
nunca confesar que
Right? We
piensan
all claim
así.
that Jesus loves us just as
Todos
we
declaramos que
are,
Jesús nos ama
and
tal
His
como
love is
somos y que su
unconditional.
amor está sin condiciones.
But I'm not so sure in our secret inward lives
Pero
that that's
tengo
actually
sospechos
100%
que
true.
en nuestras vidas interiores no está completamente verdad.
And what I'm saying to you
Y lo que estoy diciéndoles,
is that it has to become,
este
A lot
tiene
more
que
true.
ser una realidad bien fuerte en sus vidas.
He is so comfortable
Él está tan
with your
cómodo
humanity,
con nuestra humanidad,
with your brokenness,
con tu estado dañado,
with your shortcomings,
con
with your
sus faltas,
weaknesses,
con sus debilidades.
right? He's way more comfortable with them than you are.
Él
You
está
know why?
mucho más cómodo de lo que tú eres.
There's a reason why. He is extremely confident in his ability to fix all that.
¿Por qué? Porque él tiene mucho confianza en su habilidad de arreglar sus problemas.
He's way more confident than we are.
Él tiene mucho más confianza que tú.
And the other thing is that, and he does have a little bit of an advantage over us.
Y claro, él tiene una ventaja
He's already seen you as a finished product.
porque él te
He
puede ver como un
is actually,
producto
right now,
terminado, completo.
Right now.
Ahora
right
mismo.
now. And
Ahora
even
mismo.
before right now.
Aún antes de
Even
ahora.
before I said this.
Aún
Right.
antes que yo lo
Even
dije.
before I was born.
Antes que yo fui
Even
nacido.
before you were born.
Antes que usted era
He
nacido.
was beholding you
Él te está mirando
as a finished,
como un producto completo.
a perfect,
Un
complete,
producto completo,
holy,
producto santo,
so holy,
tan santo,
so complete,
tan
so
completo,
perfect.
tan
You
perfecto.
have no hint that you were ever even fallen at one
Ni
point.
hay sugerencia que había
That
caído
is how
en
pristine
antes.
he is able to see you right now.
Él les puede ver tan
It's
puro,
how he
así.
relates to you right
Él
now.
relaciona con nosotros
He
de
doesn't
esta
have to
visión.
grunt and strain.
Él no está poniendo
To love
mucha
you.
fuerza para amarte.
And I'm putting on my sunglasses to try and
Estoy
overlook your sin, because you
poniendo mi lente
had
oscuro
you
para
had
no
a
mirar a su
god-awful day
pecado.
today.
Porque has tenido un día
And
tan
I'm going to try
feo.
really hard to
Y
receive
voy a
you.
tratar de
But it's really
recibirte
hard.
a pesar de todas sus fallas.
That is your trip. And my trip. That's not his trip.
Él no funciona así.
His trip is, he holds eternity past, he holds 2020, what is today? June 13th, 2021, and he holds eternity future. Those are all
Él
present now
tiene la
moments for him.
eternidad pasado y la eternidad futuro. Todo está presente en su mano.
And so it's just as easy for him to look at you today
Entonces, tan fácil para él mirarte hoy,
or yesterday,
O ayer.
if you had a really unchristian day
si tuviese
yesterday,
un día
whatever
muy
that means.
no cristiano ayer.
And it's also just as easy for him to behold you at the consummation
Pero
of the
también
ages.
es tan fácil
That
para
is
que
a
él te
now-
mira tal como
that-
el producto completo.
That's a now moment for him.
Es un momento de ahora para él.
I know it's harder for us to
Yo
grab
sé
a
que-
hold of that because we're stuck in a time-space
Es más
continuum.
difícil por nosotros porque nosotros estamos encogidos en el tiempo,
But your Lord is not.
pero tu Señor no es.
And it's just as easy for him to behold you
Y es tan fácil que
at the
Él te
consummation
mira
of the ages.
consumado.
Somebody said it this way. Let me see if I... It's precisely because we have such an overactive disapproval gland
Es precisamente porque tenemos una glándula de criticar
that we create God in our own image.
que creamos a Dios en nuestra propia imagen.
It is truly hard for us to believe
Es muy difícil para que nosotros creamos
that disapproval is not a part of God's
que la
DNA.
desaprobación no es parte de Dios.
He's just too busy loving us
Porque Él está tan ocupado
to have any
amándonos
time
para
left
tener tiempo
for being disappointed
para
with us.
criticar y ser desanimado con nosotros. Ujú.
Did you catch that?
Yep.
Yes.
¿Me entendieron?
Yep.
He is not disappointed with you.
Él no está
He's never been
desilusionado
disappointed with you.
contigo.
You've been
Nunca has
disappointed
sido,
with you.
tú has sido desilusionado con su
You've
mismo.
projected onto him that he was
Y
disappointed
tú
with you.
se supuso que Él estaba desilusionado contigo,
And that's not true.
pero no es la verdad.
Because of Jesus Christ,
Por causa de Jesús,
because of the blood of the
por
cross,
causa de la sangre de cruz,
that's all gone.
terminó.
It's gone, saints.
Terminó.
You're free
Eres libre
from your own standards.
por sus propios estándares.
And he's not holding a standard on you.
Y Él no está aplicando el
Jesus
estándar a
met
ti.
the standard for
Él
all of us.
cumplió los requeridos para
That's
todos.
why he called himself the Son of Man. It was man
Porque esto
meeting
se
the
llamó
requirements.
Hijo del hombre, porque era un hombre cumpliendo con los requisitos.
Right? And then the Father took you and me,
Y luego Padre tomó a usted
and he
y mí
plunged us into the man who met the standard.
y nos zambulló dentro del hombre que cumplió el
And that's where you're
estándar.
at.
Y ahí,
right now.
ahí, ahí es donde está.
All right, not enough on that one. I know you guys have seen The Chosen.
Yo sé que han visto el
So just
escogido,
one last thing on the humanity
el
part.
chosen.
So,
Entonces,
I think,
una cosa más sobre la humanidad.
so my favorite thing about that
Mi cosa favorito de este episodio
is I love how they have been able to capture the humanity of Jesus
me
Christ.
encanta cómo han podido estos escritores a captar la humanidad de Cristo
Without stripping him of his divinity.
sin quitarle su
It just
divinidad.
seems like every time you see a Jesus movie or a Jesus show,
Parece que cada vez que se ve una película, un cine sobre Jesús,
he's either hyper spiritual space cadet Jesus,
él es sea el super espiritual
or he's just stripped down really good teacher Jesus,
o,
but just a guy.
o se han quitado toda la divinidad porque él solo es un buen maestro.
And the folks that are doing The Chosen
Y
somehow
esta gente que están produciendo el escogido,
have
de alguna
done,
manera,
in my opinion, the best
en mi
job that
opinión,
I've ever seen
ha hecho el mejor trabajo que yo he visto.
of having him be an ordinary human being who's comfortable in his
De
skin.
presentarle a él como un
You
ser
know,
humano
not God
normal,
temporarily
cómodo,
visiting human
en su
form, but he
propia
really,
piel.
this is gross. All right, I guess I can do this for 33 years,
No,
but it's really gross being a
no
human.
uno que está aguantando ser un ser
God.
humano.
Totally comfortable
No,
as
completamente
a human
como,
being
como un ser humano,
and totally God at the same time.
pero a la vez totalmente Dios.
And easily those two things existing
Y esas dos cosas
in
existiendo
one
lado a
human
lado
frame.
en un solo ser.
Okay. And number 4, and I think this might be I can't see the clock because of the glare. I think this might be my last one.
Quizá este sería el último, número 4.
You'll have to come
You'll
back
have
and
to
give
come
us
back.
the rest.
Yes.
Well, we'll do that, yeah. The singing alone was worth being for me today, just singing with other saints. God the Father
Dios el Padre,
is ruthlessly determined
go ahead,
to transform you into the image of His Son.
tiene una determinación tan fuerte para transformarte a la imagen de su Hijo.
And that's a really slow process.
Y ese es un proceso lento.
But I think I want to just focus on the first half of that statement.
Pero voy a enfocarme en la primera parte de esta declaración.
And again, with apologies to the Panera brothers who have heard me wax both eloquent and ignorant on this topic.
Perdone a
many
los que
times.
me han escuchado hablar de esto antes.
In my estimation, this is the purpose of God with you and with me.
Para mí, este es el propósito de Dios contigo, conmigo, en total.
I know that He blesses us.
Yo sé
I know
que
we
nos-
get a lot of fun stuff.
Yo sé que nos bendice, que
I
tenemos
do
muchas
too.
bendiciones.
And we all go through difficult times, I
Y
do
yo sé que
too.
todos pasamos por tiempos difíciles.
But what's it all for? And what's it
Pero-
all about?
¿Cuál es el propósito de esto?
Quite honestly, I find that I run into Christians who are in just as much of a purpose crisis as people who are lost.
Honestamente encuentro muchos cristianos que están en crisis de no tener propósito, igual de los que ni conocen a Dios.
Because the purpose is not that you go to heaven when you die.
El propósito no es que tú puedas
That,
ir a los
that is
cielos cuando
pretty much
mueres.
what is sold as,
Eso es lo que venden hoy
okay,
en día.
that's what this is all about. Everything that's going on
Cristianidad,
here,
todo lo que
right,
tiene que ver es
is so
ir
when
a
I
los cielos
die-
cuando muere.
I can go to heaven, and then I'll finally be happy.
Y luego, cuando estoy ahí, voy a estar contento.
That's how we kind of try to comfort ourselves when things get tough.
Con esto tratamos de consolarnos cuando las cosas se ponen feos.
That idea,
Esta idea,
which I'm not arguing with,
y no estoy
that is
poniendo en
not
contra,
big enough.
pero eso no es suficiente grande.
That is not eternal enough
Este no es suficiente eterno
to see you and I through to the end of this walk.
para,
It's
just
para
not.
que usted y yo alcanzamos al fin de este caminar.
Now, if somebody's on their deathbed, then that's a huge help.
Claro, si alguno está muriendo en la
But I'm
cama, eso es
talking
una
about
gran
those of us
ayuda.
that actually have to walk out 75, 85, 95
Pero qué tal
years on this
nosotros que tenemos
planet.
que caminar 75,
You're gonna
80
need
años,
something a little
tú
more
vas a
substantial
necesitar
than
algo más
At the end,
sustancial
whenever that
que
happens,
en el
I'm
fin
going to heaven.
voy a los cielos.
It's got to be bigger than that.
Tiene que ser el propósito más
And
grande
it is
que esto.
bigger. It is bigger
Y
than that.
más grande es.
And this is something that I would really major on with new Christians.
Y eso es algo que yo quisiera enfocar mucho con
And they
cristianos
probably
nuevos.
wouldn't understand it very much.
Y seguro no
And
lo
that's
iban
okay.
a entender mucho.
Because they're in that experiencing the joy of their salvation.
Y está bien porque
And I
están en
remember that, and it's wonderful.
etapa donde están disfrutando el gozo de su salvación.
But it wears off.
Pero llega el día
right?
cuando se
Even-
seca,
it-
cuando se
it
acaba
even
este
wore off for
gozo.
David. Right? It even wore off for David.
Aún-
Lord, restore to me the joy of my
Aún para
salvation.
David se acabó
Clearly he
esto
lost
cuando
the
él
joy
dice,
of his
Señor,
salvation.
restaura el gozo de mi salvación. Es decir, perdió.
I've lost the joy of my salvation.
Perdió el
I'm
gozo
just
de su
going to
salvación.
admit it.
Tengo que admitirlo.
And if you haven't,
Y si,
you are in a truly blessed minority.
si eso no ha pasado contigo, eres en una minoridad muy
And
bendecida.
we might just even hate you a little bit.
Minoría.
Just kidding. There's got to be eventually some huge purpose that enters into the picture to see us all the way to the end.
Para poder alcanzar
And there
el
is.
fin de esto, tiene que ver la iluminación de un propósito
Paul
grande.
refers to it in Ephesians as the eternal purpose.
Pablo lo dice en Efesios, le dice
And-
el propósito eterno.
And he's already talking to people who are already going to heaven. So this
Y
is something
él ya
else.
está escribiendo a gente que van a los cielos, entonces esa es otra
Something
cosa.
else, right? So you and I are being
Entonces usted y yo estamos siendo así.
that's me working
Ese
with
es,
clay.
ese es el proceso. Ese era yo
I don't know if it was-
trabajando
I don't know if it was any
un poco
good,
de greda.
And then for me, I feel like sometimes it's
Yeah.
take it, smash it down to the
Y a
thing,
veces se siente
start
como
all
es
over,
apagarlo.
get a better, bigger, stronger wheel,
Busca una rueda
Roll
más
up the
grande, más
sleeves,
fuerte,
and let's see
súbelo
if we can do something with
y
this
vamos a
guy.
ver si comenzamos de nuevo.
Right? So we feel like that
A
sometimes.
veces sentimos así.
But he is shaping you, and he's shaping
Pero
me,
Él está formándote,
and he's molding us into the image of his son.
moldeándote a una imagen.
And I'm talking about, that's happening in time and space right
Y yo
here.
digo, este está sucediendo ya.
And the only way I know to say this to you,
Y la única manera que
Because
conozco para
we are
sé,
all
para
gonna end
decirles,
up
porque todos vamos a
fully
llegar
formed into his image.
totalmente formados en su imagen.
In the end, we will be.
En el fin, vamos a estar totalmente en su imagen.
But there's something, the New Testament makes this clear to me.
Y el Nuevo Testamento me hace claro
There's
esta idea.
something really important
Hay algo muy importante
about getting as much of that work done in time and space.
que lo más que puede completar lo más de esta gran obra que puedes en el tiempo dado.
Yeah, as much as you can possibly submit and yield to
Lo
the
más que
Lord's
tú
working
puedes
in your life,
someterse a la obra de Dios en su vida, les conviene hacerlo ahora.
to allow Him to take that indwelling Christ
Permitir que Él usa este Cristo viviendo adentro de ti
and shape and mold Him.
y
Form
formarlo.
Right? This is what Paul said to the Galatians, remember? He said, oh my gosh, I've got to start all over again and labor with you till Christ be
Dijo Pablo en
formed in you
Gálatas, Dios mío,
again.
tengo que comenzar la obra de nuevo contigo hasta que Cristo sea formado
His
en
life
ti.
is in you.
Su vida está dentro de ti.
But the rest of your days on this planet are spent with the Lord shaping and molding that life
Su vida está dentro, pero el resto de su tiempo aquí en el
into
planeta
a
se lo
defined
gasta en
image.
formando esta
of
imagen,
his son.
perfeccionando esta imagen de su Hijo dentro de ti.
And honestly, brothers and
Y
sisters,
honestamente, hermanos,
that is the explanation
esa es la explicación
of every blessing that you've ever
de
received,
cada bendición que has
of
recibido,
every difficult thing you've
de
ever
cada
gone through,
dificultad
of
que
every
ha
bit
pasado,
of pain that you have touched,
cada, every what?
bit of pain,
Cada pedazo de dolor que te ha afectado,
everything
todo
has to do
tiene que ver
with the formation of
con la
Jesus Christ
formación
in
de
you.
Jesucristo dentro de ti.
While you are in the time-space continuum.
Mientras que usted
Once you're out of
vive
this,
en
once
tiempo,
you're out of this place,
al momento que tú sales de aquí,
the rest of the work will be done by His appearing and His unveiling.
el resto de la
We
obra
will
se
all be
completa
changed into
por
His
medio
image.
de Él se manifestarse. Todos seremos cambiados.
But when I read Paul, I see Paul almost anxious
Pero cuando leo a Pablo, veo que él está casi ansioso,
like he's running a race,
tal como
And
si
time's
fuera corriendo
running
una
out.
carrera. El tiempo está marcando
and he wants to run it to the end.
y él quiere correrlo hasta el
You've
fin.
all read his work. You know I'm just taking bits and pieces of Paul's letters here. I mean, this is how he talks.
Ustedes saben, él
And he
él
doesn't want
habla
to be
así.
disqualified from the race.
Y él no quiere ser descalificado.
You can't be disqualified from Jesus Christ. We're talking
No
specifically
puede
about
ser
being transformed into
descalificado
His
de
image.
Cristo, pero estamos hablando de ser descalificado en el sentido de no completar esta imagen en el tiempo que tienes.
Right? The tears that you've cried,
Los lágrimas que han llorado.
the pain. I know there's still pain currently flowing in this room.
El
In
dolor.
every single one
Yo
of us.
sé que hay dolor en cada uno de
Things that
nosotros.
we want the Lord to fix that He
Cosas
hasn't.
que queremos que
And we don't
Dios se
even
arregle.
understand. We don't understand why it was permitted in the first
Ni
place.
entendemos por
let
qué
alone
Dios permitió este dolor.
why hasn't He bound it up and fixed it so I'm
Sin
not
hablar
feeling
de
it so
por qué
powerfully
Él no ha
anymore.
arreglado esta cosa.
So many things that we
Tantas
walk through in a
cosas
human lifetime
Que tenemos que pasar en nuestras vidas
that are
humanas.
absolutely inexplicable.
Que son
Things you
absolutamente sin
can't throw a
explicación.
Bible verse at.
Cosas que no
Sorry.
hay versículo para
Sorry.
arreglarlo.
It's the truth.
There are things that no Bible verse is going to solve for you.
Hay cosas que ningún versículo en la Biblia va a resolver para ti.
I wish it were true.
Ojalá que fuese
And I
así.
used to believe that it was.
Y antes creí que
And I had
esto
to learn
era,
the hard way that
pero tuve que aprender
that's
que
not
no
the
es
case.
así.
Right.
But
Sin embargo,
His Son, even in those perplexing places,
pero aún en esos lugares
is being
de
formed in
tanto
you.
perplejo, el Hijo es para ti.
And a lot of that work is being hidden and cloaked from you
Y Él
yourself.
está obrando en ti,
We can see
aunque
it.
mucho de esta obra que Él está
I can
haciendo
see
aún
it.
está escondido de nosotros.
Your brothers and sisters can see it.
A veces
But
tus
to
hermanos
protect
pueden
you,
verlo, pero cuando llega a
Sometimes the
sí
Lord
mismo,
cloaks His own
a
work in
veces
you.
Él hace la obra que Él está haciendo invisible
And
a
just
sus
a quick little
ojos.
story, and I'll finish with this.
Un cuento corto y termino con esto.
And I don't know if I've even shared this with you before. It has to do with Momo. So
No sé si lo he compartido antes.
when we first moved out to Callahan, I
Cuando
wanted to get the house
primeramente
inspected.
trasladamos a Callahan, mi esposo pidió que inspectara la casa, inspecciona la
Yeah,
casa
like termites and all that kind of stuff.
para termitas y cosas.
So I called, I think it was Terminex or somebody I called.
Entonces
And,
llamé Terminex o una de las empresas así.
so they sent a guy out,
Entonces enviaron a un tipo
and he crawled under the house, have a look there first.
y él tuvo que meterse
And I thought that
debajo
was
de
all
la
he was
casa
going to do.
para mirar
And
abajo.
he
a
said,
ver.
I have to look at every single room every single closet,
Y él dijo,
every
yo tengo
basically
que
every square inch of your house.
mirar a cada cuarto, cada closet, cada pulgada cuadrada, tengo que
Now,
inspectarlo.
he came when Mo was at his nap time.
Y él vino
And that is
en un
sacred
momento
time.
cuando Mo estaba en su siesta.
Now, Mo doesn't nap anymore, but at the time he was still taking those blessed 2-hour
Él no
naps.
toma siesta más, pero en aquel
And-
tiempo todavía había el tiempito de 2 horas de bendición cuando él
I said,
estaba en siesta.
hey, listen, I got a little heart baby up on machines up in the bedroom up there, and he's napping right now. I said, you don't need to go in that room, do you? He
Yo
said, I have
dije-
to go in every room.
Yo tengo un bebé en el cuarto que está en una máquina por su corazón y todo
So,
eso, y él está dormido. Tú no tienes que entrar ahí, ¿cierto?
He said, I'll be quiet, I promise. I
Él
won't
dijo,
go.
yo
And I'll
me
just with a
entro-
flashlight, the lights are out in the room and everything. He said, I'll just use a flashlight.
Callado, solo con la linterna, solo para inspeccionar.
So I said, okay.
Yo dije, bueno.
I said, if you can get by my wife, then you can go in.
Yo dije, si puede convencer, mi esposa puede entrar.
So he went up to Mo's room, and Mo actually has 2 rooms that are adjoining by a doorway.
Entonces subió a la escalera
And he was in the bedroom part,
cuarto de
sleeping.
Mo. Él tiene 2 cuartos que están unidos.
And I didn't want to go in because I thought this is going to be bad enough. One person's going to wake him up. I'm
Yo
not
no quería,
going
ni
in.
yo quería entrar porque yo pensaba uno
So
solo lo va a
I
despertar.
waited in the
Entonces-
other room,
Entonces yo estaba
and I
esperando
think
ahí.
at the time we had some day nursing. And I think a nurse was in that room as
Y
well.
creo que había una enfermera ahí en
So,
el cuarto también.
He couldn't have been in there more than, I'm going to say 2 minutes tops.
Entonces él
And it was
pasó
probably
como,
60 seconds.
como 1 minuto, 2 minutos máximo. Ahí.
And he came out of the room and he was shaking.
Y él salió del
And he still had a
cuarto
mask on, so I couldn't quite see what was going
y
on
él
with his
estaba
face.
temblando. Él tuvo máscara, entonces no pude discernir su
But
cara,
his hands were shaking. I
pero
could
sus
see
manos
them.
estaban temblando.
And he pulled the mask down and he
Y
said,
bajó la
he
máscara
said, I'm shaking.
y dice, mire, estoy temblando.
I said, yeah, I see that.
Y yo
I
dije,
had no
"Sí, veo."
idea what's happening to this guy.
Ni idea de lo que estaba pasando él.
And he looks at me
Y él
and he
me
says,
miró.
there's something holy going on inside that room.
Él dijo, hay algo santo que está pasando dentro de este cuarto.
And he said, I can't stop shaking.
Y él dijo, no puedo parar de temblar.
So the hair went right up on the back of my head. I had
Me
no
hizo parar el
idea.
pelo.
Right, so I walk him out to his truck.
Entonces yo lo acompañé a su pickup,
Because
su
I've
camioneta,
got plans on asking a few follow-up questions.
porque yo quería preguntar,
Just talking
hacer
shop on
algunas
the way out to
preguntas,
the
pero
truck,
solo
about the
estamos
condition of the house.
visitando de la condición de la
And
casa.
so he gets his suit off and everything.
Entonces él se quita su
And
vestidura
I said,
especial.
hey, I need to ask you a question about
Y yo
something
dije,
you said
quería
upstairs.
hacerle una pregunta.
And he cut me off. He said, my hands are shaking again.
Y él dijo otra vez, mis manos.
And I said, I said, the kind of language you use, like
Yo-
there's something holy
Sí,
going
pero
on. That's not like the
¿de
typical
dónde
thing.
sacó esas frases?
hear from your pest control
Algo
guy.
santo que está pasando ahí.
Yeah.
Holes in the wall.
And he then proceeded to basically confess to me that he had been a believer at one point and
Y
he had left the
luego
Lord.
comenzó de confesarme que él había sido creyente
And-
una vez, pero había dejado al Señor.
Yeah, and he proclaimed himself to be an agnostic.
Y ahora se declaró ser agnóstico.
Right, so I just laughed and I said, brother,
Entonces me hizo reír y yo dije, hermano,
I said, you don't come out of a room shaking, saying there's something holy going on in the room.
uno no sale
There's
de
no
un
way you're
cuarto
agnostic.
temblando diciendo que hay algo santo ahí en este cuarto si eres agnóstico.
Just want to clue you in
Solo
that
quería
you're not
decirte.
agnostic. Right? And so he really proceeded to tell me his whole story about how he wound up.
Luego comenzó de contarme
Hurt in
toda
the
su
church.
historia.
We all know the story 100
God
times over.
se fue herido en la iglesia, todos sabemos esta clase de historia.
So I, did just kind of a quick few minutes with him and gave him my phone number. Well, I think he already had my phone number and just said, just anytime you want to call.
Entonces yo solo le
But-
dijeron cosas y me
My
dio
point
mi-
is,
mi
so
número.
when I went back up to Mo's room,
Pero cuando
peeked
subí
around the
otra vez
doorway again to look in there.
al cuarto de Mo, miré
And
por
I
la puerta.
I didn't sense anything holy.
Yo no
By
podía
that
sentir
point, it
nada
smelled like
santo.
something unholy had happened in there.
Había un olor que me hizo pensar que algo muy...
But my point is this:
Pero mi punto es,
if Jen and I were able to sense what that guy was able to sense,
si Jenny y yo
On a daily
podríamos
basis.
sentir en una
there's no way we could take care of that
diario
child.
no pudimos cuidar a este niño.
We got a practical existence with that child, and it requires a lot.
Tenemos una
We
existencia
can't
muy
be
práctica con el niño.
Coming out of Mo's room,
No
shaking every time
no
we go in.
podríamos estar
But I'll tell you
temblándonos
this,
todo el
that
día.
does not change the fact that the glory of the Lord is inside
Pero
the
ese no cambia el hecho que la gloria de Dios está dentro de ese
So
cuerpo.
don't be discouraged
De modo no sean
because
desanimados,
His work
porque su obra
and His presence
y su presencia
and His glory,
y su gloria,
His power.
su
I
poder,
could go on. We could name 100.
podía
Just
seguir
because it is cloaked from
solo
you for the
porque
moment
está escondido
Your
de
own
ti por un momento.
transformation
Su propia transformación
can be cloaked from you.
puede ser invisible a ti.
In fact, I'm convinced at this stage of
de
the
hecho,
game
yo creo que
that
es
it's
así.
mostly being cloaked.
La mayoría,
For
yo
your
creo
own
la mayoría
protection, by the way.
de su transformación
For your own
está siendo
protection.
invisible a ti por
And
su
it's
propia protección.
occasionally visible
Y
to
ocasionalmente
your brothers and
vemos
sisters in the
un
Lord.
vislumbre
Thank God.
por sus
I
hermanos.
can confirm some work is being done.
Y sus
I
hermanos
don't
me
even
pueden
think
confirmar.
that we can see
Ni
the
creo que
degree of
podemos
that transformation
la-
that's going
podemos
on, even
ver
in one another.
la medida de esta transformación que está sucediendo dentro.
But I want you to be at peace. I want you to be at rest.
Pero
that
quiero
the
que
Lord is
estén
working.
En paz, en reposo que el Señor está trabajando.
He's fixing you.
Él te está
Healing
arreglando,
you. He's
sanándote,
delivering you. He's
librándote,
making you whole.
haciéndote completo, entero.
And thank Him for the times when you can see it and sense it.
Y de gracias
And
por los
enjoy that.
tiempos que tú puedes ver esto y disfrútelo.
But don't back down an inch.
Pero no se
In your
retrocede ni
and
una
in your
pulgada
trust
en su fe, en
and
su
in your
confianza,
confidence.
en su confianza.
That He's doing the same exact thing when you can't.
Que
see
Él
it,
está haciendo la
and you
misma
can't
cosa cuando
sense it.
no puedes
Because it
verlo.
is happening not
Porque
only
está sucediendo.
with the same force, but perhaps even greater force when you
Porque
can't.
te aseguro, está sucediendo con la misma fuerza cuando no lo puede ver.
So, that's number 4, and these are just a couple of things that I would share with.
Entonces, esas son algunas cosas que yo
Well, I guess I wouldn't
compartiría,
just share them with young people because I just shared them with you guys, and you guys all been in the Lord a long time.
que yo
As have
compartiría
I.
con la gente, aunque ya tienen muchas experiencias.
But make a list. There are people
Haz tu
that
propia
you are
lista.
going to run into
Porque hay personas que tú vas a encontrar
who need to hear your list.
que necesitan oír tu lista.
And I don't know, saints. The Lord is good, and
El Señor está bueno.
even for me, I needed to come here this morning and share this with you. I mean, this was a reminder for me as
Este
well.
fue una acordarme a mí también esta mañana.
And He's good. He can be trusted.
Él es digno de confiar.
Is it dangerous to follow Him?
Es peligroso
You
seguirle.
better believe it.
Sí, Señor.
It may even cost you your physical
Podría
existence on this
hasta
planet at some point.
costarte tu vida en este planeta.
But it is the absolute safest,
Pero es el lugar
most sane
más seguro, más sano
that you can be.
donde tú puedes vivir.
I didn't even use my Bible. I didn't use my Bible. You know there was a lot of Bible in there, right?
Oh, yeah. It's okay.
¿Saben